I'm a big fan of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, both the books and the film based on the first book. I'm not as disappointed in the movie as most fans seem to be. They seem to feel like it's too different from the source material. It's the charge levied by most fandom against any adaptation of any source material that they hold dear. And I don't blame them but people feel very strongly for Douglas Adams and his work. But the thing is that The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has gone through many changes. It started out as the books, and the radio play, but there was also a BBC miniseries, and all of those three things had different scenes, different dialogue. They all had slightly different takes. And so I saw the movie that way because Douglas Adams wrote the movie as well, just before he passed. And he also served as one of the executive producers. So I'm like, he just kind of tweaked it. I agree that some of those tweaks are annoying. Like Hamakavula does feel like a literal cul-de-sac. Like Zaphod literally goes like, well, whatever we have to do is going to have to wait because I have to go do this whatever with this guy. And the unfortunate thing is that Hamakavula sets up that whole like point of view gun thing, and I could see if that was all paid off with a joke with Marvin, where you could see from his point of view, because he has the really, like, truly different point of view. Like, it would be tough for a human to get into his really, like, a robot that can withstand 25 million years of parking cars. Like, you can the whole point is that a human brain can't fathom that level of boredom or ennui or you know what I mean? So, like, Marvin firing the point of view gun at the Vogons at the end, that would be a wonderful payoff. But that it goes through that whole scene with Zoe Dashnell and Zaphod, and, like, she keeps firing it at him to make him see the point of view of a woman, that is annoying. I give fans that. But I don't think they should boycott the film the way they did, to the point that we now don't have a sequel. And I was watching that first movie, and I'm at the very end, Mos Def leaves you with that kind of wink, like, I know this great restaurant at the end of the universe. And it's like, yeah, well, why don't we have that movie? And I think that sucks that we don't have that, because I Googled it and I really can only find this one interview with Martin Freeman. And he doesn't seem too hot on playing Arthur anymore. And he puts it down where he's like, oh, well, I'd sort of be locked into playing Arthur for 12 years. And this coming from the guy who signed up for Bilbo Baggins and the Marvel Universe. And it's like, yeah, okay, you just probably aren't that keen on the books or whatever. And it's interesting that the actor who played Arthur Dent in the BBC miniseries is in the movie. He's the face of the missile guidance system on Bogsphere, or was it Bogsphere? It was one of the planets had a missile defense system with a computerized face, and that's the original actor. And he's like tall, gaunt. He's more, I don't know, like severe. He's kind of like sallow. He's that kind of British guy. And yeah, like Martin Freeman. No offense to him, and this works for him as Bilbo, but he's kind of hobbit faced. And I never really pictured Arthur that way. And so it would be fine for me if Martin Freeman was like, no, I'm fine. I'm doing Black Panther movies now. It's like, that's fine. That's where the bucks are. That's fine. And Martin Freeman, and that's the weird thing though, is that Martin Freeman does that kind of like, hello, pilgrim, which way to the movies? He does this thing where British people kind of affect a sort of American swaggery accent, and I'm like, why? What's going on? Like, why doesn't he just play a British person? Why does he have to be an American guy? Or why don't they just cast an American guy as him? Anyway, I'm sorry. And he does it very well. I'm sure that most people who don't know him aren't even aware that he's affecting an accent. But I just don't get that whole, like, aren't there American actors available to play that part? Like, anyway. So, I would very much like to see a Restaurant at the End of the Universe movie somewhere like Netflix, or, I heard that Terry Jones from Monty Python, I heard he's now ill, but before he fell ill, that he would have done an animated take. Something like that, stop motion, something like James and the Giant Peach. um, or Coraline. I could sort of see that. Um, this film was shot very much like a '70s Spielberg film, and I think that Douglas Adams would have very much appreciated that. That it's shot in that 235 aspect that Jaws was, and it's kind of desaturated the way Jaws was too, and like the action scenes are shot straight. They're like Independence Day. And I personally consider the opening of the film to be perfect. Like, I don't think you could shoot the opening of that film any better. And I have a problem with Ford only insofar as I don't think he should be, like, bald. I actually don't mind Mos Def's interpretation. Like, I think he's the perfect level of, as he would put it, like, he's a little tweaked from having been around, bounced around the galaxy like a pinball for a while. And he plays it with that just slightly tweaked, and he doesn't go overboard. He doesn't go into that territory that the sidekick would go into today, where he would be like some Josh Gad level, like insufferable. You'd be like, oh. Anyway, I'm sorry to Mr. Gad. He's got all those frozen bucks. He doesn't care about who criticizes him, but I'm thinking of him in Pixels, where he's just kind of that. Oh God! Oh, where are we going now? Oh no! Oh dear! What's happening? I'm the foil. Like, oh no. So, if I could say, I don't know, in defense of a sequel, I saw that in the article that Martin Freeman says that he had dinner with Garth Jennings, the director, and that he's like, Disney just says there's not enough business. Like, the first one just didn't make enough money. End of story. And it's like, well, now we have these new outlets like Netflix. So I guess that's the way it's got to be, right? And if that's the way it's got to be animated, right? Or I guess not necessarily low budget, because aren't they throwing 140 million at that Martin Scorsese movie? But that's a Martin Scorsese movie. So, I mean, throw 40, 50, 60 at Restaurant at the End of the Universe, see how it does. I mean, it's got a built-in fan base. Play up the first one like they do. Put the first one out there, put that one on Netflix, and make it that, obnoxious, moving ad that you have to see first before you can scroll your menus. You know what I mean? Like, before you can get to your movies, you have to see, like, that 10-second moving advertisement, and just do that. Like, oh, Hitchhiker's Guide, I know that, and go from there. So, just a suggestion, and I hope the fans agree with me that it's better than nothing now, right? I mean, I'm one of those people where I understand that there's a difference where when you adapt something, it's going to be a little bit different. Like, people have a shorter attention span for film than they do for print. And it's the reason that, like, the Da Vinci Code movie isn't, like, 7 hours long. And it's like, Ian McKellen's describing the painting for 7 minutes at a time. Because that's what it would be if you directly adapted every word of the book. But no, you take the most exciting filmable elements and you string them together in a narratively pleasing fashion. And I thought the Hitchhiker's Guide movie did that very well, except for those cul-de-sacs that are sticking out, that could very easily be excised in a director's cut. A director's cut could very easily be like a 90-minute, cut. You wouldn't have to add anything. You could just cut stuff out and string it together in a nice way, and I think you'd make the fans happy. So that's it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.